June 3rd, 1999. Penny Lane, Liverpool. 2 p.m. Sunny afternoon. A young man sat on the corner, 22 years old, guitar case open, hoping for coins. He strummed his battered acoustic, voice rough, untrained, singing Yesterday, off-key, missing notes, but passionate, pouring his heart into every wrong word. Behind him, unnoticed, stood a man in a baseball cap and sunglasses, listening, wincing slightly. The young musician hit a particularly bad note. The man behind him chuckled softly. Then, loud enough to be heard, "You're murdering that song, mate." The young musician stopped, turned around, saw the man, and his face went pale. Paul McCartney, standing there, smiling. "Mind if I show you how it's supposed to go?" What happened in the next hour, on that Liverpool street corner, became the most beautiful impromptu concert anyone had ever witnessed. If you want to witness the moment a legend became a teacher, when fame disappeared and only music mattered, tap that subscribe button. Because this story is about humility, patience, and passing the torch. Danny Morrison, 22 years old, Liverpool born, music school dropout, played guitar since he was 12, taught himself, never quite good enough, never quite right, tried to get into bands, rejected. "You're okay, mate, but not great." Tried to get gigs, turned away. Come back when you're better. But Danny loved music, loved the Beatles, loved the dream of being a musician. So he busked Penny Lane, Matthew Street, the docks, anywhere tourists gathered, made maybe 20 pounds a day, enough to eat, enough to survive. Barely. Danny wasn't talented, not really. His voice cracked, his guitar playing sloppy, but he had heart, passion, that desperate need to create, to be heard. Every day, same routine. Set up his guitar case, drop in a few coins, start playing. Beatles songs mostly. Tourists loved Beatles songs. Liverpool currency, musical heritage. Yesterday, Let It Be. Hey Jude, the classics, the ones everyone knew. Danny sang them badly, but he sang them honestly, and sometimes that was enough. But June 3rd, 1999 was different because someone was listening, really listening. Paul McCartney was in Liverpool. Rare visit, nostalgic trip, walking the old streets. No security, no entourage, just Paul, baseball cap, sunglasses, trying to be invisible. He'd driven himself, parked near Penny Lane, decided to walk, see what had changed, what remained. The street looked different, commercialized, Beatles tourist shops everywhere, Penny Lane barber shop, Strawberry Fields Cafe, his past, commodified, sold. It made him sad and proud and strange all at once. Then he heard it, guitar, voice, familiar melody. Yesterday, Paul stopped, turned, saw the young musician, and smiled. Someone playing his song on the street he'd written about, in the city that made him. But then, the voice hit a wrong note, badly wrong, painfully wrong. Paul winced. "Oh no, not like that, lad." He walked closer, listening. The musician was trying, really trying, but failing. The passion was there, the love was there, but the skill, the technique, missing. Paul stood 10 feet away, watching this young man, struggling with Paul's song, and something in Paul stirred. Responsibility, duty, desire to help. Danny was mid-verse, eyes closed, lost in the music, when he heard it. "You're murdering that song, mate." Danny's eyes snapped open, turned, saw the man in the cap and sunglasses. "Sorry," Danny said, defensive. "If you don't like it, walk away." "Can't walk away," the man said. "That's my song, and you're butchering it." Danny laughed. Your song, right? And I'm Elvis. The man took off his sunglasses, looked directly at Danny. Danny's laugh died. His hands froze on the guitar. His breath stopped. Paul McCartney, the Paul McCartney, standing there in front of him. Oh my God, Danny whispered. Oh my God, oh my God. Breathe, lad, Paul said gently. It's okay. I'm not angry. Just, your pitch is off. Danny couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stared. This couldn't be real. Paul sat down on the pavement, cross-legged, like a teenager. Let me hear it again. I can't. You're Paul McCartney. And you're Danny, Paul said, reading the name on the guitar case. And you're trying to play my song. So play it. Let me hear it properly. Danny's hands shook. He started playing, worse than before, nerves destroying him. Paul listened, then gently stopped him. Okay, let's start with the basics. What Paul did next changed Danny's life forever. Paul took Danny's guitar, old, battered, strings rusty, barely in tune. First, Paul said, let's tune this properly. He adjusted the pegs, by ear, muscle memory. There, now it'll sound like it's supposed to. He handed it back. Play the opening chord, G. Danny played, wrong fingering, muddy sound. No, Paul said, not harsh, patient, like this. He repositioned Danny's fingers. See? Clean, clear, every note ringing. Danny tried again, this time. Perfect, beautiful. There you go, Paul encouraged. You've got it. For 30 minutes, Paul taught Danny, note by note, chord by chord. Your voice isn't bad, Paul said. Just untrained. You're pushing from your throat. Use your diaphragm. He demonstrated. Same voice, same DNA, but controlled, supported, effortless. Try it, Paul said. Danny sang, still rough, but better, noticeably better. Yes, Paul clapped. That's it. That's the sound. People were noticing now, stopping, staring, whispering. Is that Paul McCartney? What's he doing on the ground? Is he teaching that busker? A small crowd formed, 10 people, 20, 30, all watching, silent, respectful. Paul didn't notice, or didn't care, completely focused on Danny, on the music. Now, Paul said, let's play it together, me and you, like a duet. I can't, not with you. Yes, you can, Paul insisted. It's just music, Danny, just two blokes with guitars. They played yesterday together. Paul's voice golden and perfect. Danny's voice rough but improving. The contrast was beautiful. Master and student, legend and dreamer, past and future. Paul harmonized with Danny, lifted him, made him sound better than he'd ever sounded. Danny felt it, the magic, the rightness. This was what music was supposed to feel like. Not performing alone, but connecting, sharing, becoming more together. The crowd swelled, 50 people, 100. Phones out, recording, witnessing, but nobody interrupted. Nobody screamed. Liverpool knew better. This was sacred. When the song ended, applause, gentle, appreciative, real. Paul stood, brushed off his jeans, looked at the crowd. All right, show's over. No, someone shouted. One more, please. Paul looked at Danny. What do you think? One more? Danny nodded, unable to speak, tears in his eyes. Let's do Let It Be, Paul said. But I'll need help. Crowd. You know the words? Everyone nodded, eager, hungry to participate. What happened next? Penny Lane had never seen. Paul and Danny played Let It Be, and 100 people sang, Not screaming, not hysteria, just singing, honest, heartfelt, together. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, Paul's voice leading, Danny's voice following, the crowd's voice surrounding. It was church. It was communion. It was everything music was meant to be. An elderly woman started crying. "I saw you at the cavern," she called out. 1962, you were just boys. Paul smiled at her. "We were, love. We were." A young girl, maybe 8, pushed forward. "My granddad loves you. He's sick. Can I record this for him?" "Of course," Paul said, sang the next verse directly to her phone. "For your granddad, tell him Paul says hello." They played for 45 minutes. Paul and Danny in the crowd. Every Beatles song Danny knew. Paul taught him how to play it right. Here Comes the Sun, Blackbird, Hey Jude, the na, na, na part. Everyone joining. Penny Lane, the actual Penny Lane, filled with music, with joy, with community. Just like Paul had dreamed when he wrote the song. Just like it was supposed to be. Finally, exhausted, happy, Paul stood. "Danny," he said, "you've got something, not perfection, but heart, and heart matters more. Keep practicing, keep playing, keep trying. That's all any of us can do." Danny wiped his eyes. Thank you so much." Paul hugged him. "Thank you for reminding me why I do this." Paul reached into his jacket, pulled out his wallet, took out 200 pounds, dropped it in Danny's guitar case. "For the lesson," Paul said, "you taught me as much as I taught you." "I can't take this," Danny protested. "You can," Paul said firmly. "You earned it. 2 hours of music. That's worth something." Then Paul did something nobody expected. He took off his watch, expensive, Rolex, worth thousands, handed it to Danny. "Sell this if you need to, or keep it. I don't care." "But Paul..." "I have others," Paul said, "and you need a better guitar, better strings, maybe some lessons. This will help. Use it wisely." Danny stared at the watch. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. "Why?" Danny asked. "Why are you doing this?" Paul smiled. "Because 40 years ago, I was you, busking, struggling, desperate, and someone helped me, gave me a chance, believed in me. Now I'm passing it on to you, and someday, when you make it, you'll pass it on too. That's how it works. That's how music survives, through kindness, through teaching, through love." Paul walked away, disappeared into Liverpool, back to being invisible. The crowd dispersed, slowly, reluctantly, still processing what they'd witnessed. Danny sat there, guitar in lap, watch in hand, 200 pounds in his case, stunned. A woman approached. "I'm a talent agent," she said. "I saw what happened. Would you like representation?" Another man. "I own a studio. I'd like to record you. Interested?" Within a week, Danny had 3 gig offers, a recording contract, a future. Not because he was suddenly talented, but because Paul McCartney had believed in him. And if Paul believed, maybe there was something there, something worth developing. But the real gift wasn't the money or the watch. Danny never sold the watch, kept it, framed it. Reminder, not of value, but of kindness, of what happened when legends stayed human. He practiced every day, using Paul's techniques, Paul's advice, Paul's patience. Slowly, his voice improved, his guitar playing tightened, his confidence grew. 2001, Danny released his first album, dedicated to Paul. For the man who stopped to listen, it didn't chart, didn't make him famous, but it was good, honest, real, and that was enough. When Paul heard about it, bought a copy, listened, sent Danny a message. Proud of you, mate. You kept going. That's all that matters. June 3rd, 1999, Penny Lane changed two people. Danny learned, talent is practice, kindness is currency, legends are human. Paul learned, fame is temporary, music is eternal, teaching is legacy. Today, Danny Morrison is a music teacher in Liverpool, 45 years old, steady career. He tells his students about the day Paul McCartney stopped to teach him. He didn't have to, Danny says. He was Paul McCartney. He could have walked past, but he stopped, sat down, shared his knowledge, his time, his heart. That's what real musicians do. They lift others up, they pass it on. So when you make it, when you're successful, remember, stop for the busker, teach the struggling musician, pass it on. That's how music survives, through kindness, through teaching, through love. And somewhere, in a house in England, Paul McCartney smiles because Danny gets it, really gets it. The lesson Paul learned from others, now pass forward. Music isn't competition, it's community. Fame isn't the goal, connection is. And the greatest legacy isn't the songs you write, it's the musicians you help along the way. The Dannys of the world, struggling, trying, dreaming, who just need someone to stop, to listen, to say, "You're not quite there yet, but let me help you get there." That's what Paul did on Penny Lane. June 3rd, 1999, stopped, listened, helped. Because that's what legends do. When they remember they're human first, musicians second, and teachers always. Thank you, Paul, for stopping, for teaching, for being kind. Thank you, Danny, for trying, for learning, for passing it on. And thank you to all of us, witnessing, learning, trying, to be a little more like Paul that day, stopping for the busker, teaching the struggling musician, passing it on forever.